Hey everyone, welcome to the Mod Golf Podcast. I'm Colin Weston, your host, and today I have Charlie Watson, who is the founder and CEO of Lazarus Esports. I just finished up our audio conversation for our podcast there and learned all the amazing things that Charlie is doing in the esports space, and especially what they're now dipping their toe in golf. Otherwise, why would he be on the Mod Golf Podcast? And we were talking about the event that is about to happen, which is called the VIRL Golf Showdown. So we're going to be talking about that. I have lots of other questions for Charlie too that I've been hanging on to here because, of course, we don't want to duplicate the conversation we had earlier. So we have a little more to dig into here. So hey, Charlie, welcome back to the Mod Golf Podcast.
Hey, Colin, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I didn't want to kind of reveal anything earlier what I was going to ask you. And I put you on the spot here a little bit because we didn't talk about your personal connection to golf. I don't even know if you have one. I've held off. So do you actually play golf? Have you swing a club at all? Do you play or tell me about that?
I used to be an avid golfer, so for me being a big guy, I actually picked up sports really quickly, and I was pretty good. So like and deceiving at sports too. So I was like good at volleyball and badminton and hockey and baseball and golf was one of those things that I was never taught, but I was consistently shooting in the 80s, low 90s without really having a trainer or any training like that. I'm sure if I worked a little harder, I probably could have, but I've had to drop golf in the last 3 years now, as I had like major surgery on my spine a couple years ago. So unfortunately, I've not swung a club since.
You have not. So a beautiful segue into one of the many virtues of esports, and that is it is inclusive that anyone can play at any level. So let's talk again about the VIRL Golf Showdown that's happening. So tell our viewers here what that is and when it's happening.
Yeah, so the hashtag VRL Showdown presented by Bear Mountain is an esports. It's the first of its kind esports gaming event that's living and breathing online. So the qualifiers take place April. I almost said August. April 20th to 27th. So they start tomorrow. And that will have there's up to 320 entrants that are allowed into this. So it's on a first come first serve basis, and we're just a little bit over half right now, and we're gonna have that fill up very quickly over the next 7 to 8 days. And then the top four from that will compete in a live final on May 2nd. That'll be broadcasted globally on all of the Lazarus Esports channels. What we're considering is the first of its kind competitive golf event. So golf just hasn't had a lot of esports into it right now, and we've seen the industry catapult into really progressing the esports sports lines of things within the last year. So we're really excited about what we're producing here in Canada, and the number of partners that we have here on Vancouver Island as well.
Nice, nice. So for all of our American and even global viewers here are thinking, well, Vancouver Island, where is that? By the way, it's just outside of Vancouver, a little body of water between where I am and Vancouver Island. But you're looking at something much bigger here, Charlie. This is a great, if you want to call it a proof of concept or a pilot program, which is going to have incredible impact. But this is really going to be your kind of your laboratory to then figure what works as you do it as an entrepreneur, taking more of a lean startup approach there of kind of figuring out, what works and what doesn't, what we're going to do more of, what we're going to do less of, and apply all the good things that you've done with the other properties and platforms you have with Lazarus Esports. So tell us about that, what you're really seeing about the future of golf esports on a competitive basis. Tell us about what your best possible outcome, or what you'd like to see Lazarus and yourself get involved in years to come to have this thing kind of blow out in the golf esports space.
Yeah, so we've our job here is to understand the patterns and emerging markets, and really try to forecast as much as possible to really mitigate risk and create a larger ROI. So we've produced a number of different events, both in sports, battle royales, first person shooters, even like World of Warcraft as well. So we've done a number of events, and so we were Lazarus Esports. We we were the first to get into NHL esports. We were the second to get into Madden. We were the sixth to get into FIFA, first to now get into esports golf. Much that we've seen, with Ninja and Juju Smith-Schuster and Drake, a couple years ago, that really propelled Battle Royale and Fortnite and created mainstream esports, and why you've seen so much investment and popularity with the gaming and esports. We're seeing now with sports titles and much with golf right now, and a lot of that has been a catalyst because of the COVID-19 and what's happened, since last year, and a lot of that's been propelled from the betting marketplace. So when we're looking at these types of events, we're looking at the content creators, the appetite for celebrities to come in and high net worths to be invited and playing and competing. We're understanding the competitive community. We're talking with the publishers and studios and developers. So we're kind of taking all of this information, and we're not hedging our bets, but we're understanding where the marketplace is going to be 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road. So we're really excited about what's happening right now in MLB and NHL, and obviously golf is seeing tremendous residuals of the byproduct of not only COVID, but the betting industry and just the growing appetite for golf to finally push itself into the esports realm.
Yeah, yeah, and you also, I know you're a big Tiger fan, so the fact that
Yes.
he's now looking to get back involved
Yep.
with his property there too, which is only going to be good for esports and also for the gaming side of that with golf. I didn't ask you this question because you did touch on the kind of the betting aspect, and we've had DraftKings on with fantasy and golf fantasy betting in the past on the podcast, and I've spent time in Las Vegas working in the golf industry and seeing the potential of what they revert to as really betting on yourself, as far as these if I get the terminology right here, with kind of games based betting. I don't know if I quite got that right, but the point being is that rather than leaving it to purely to chance of a roulette wheel or Texas Hold'em or whatever that could be, that you're actually then doing something active and betting on yourself, especially with younger people wanting to be more engaged in that, rather than these passive experiences of having active experiences. So where do you see the convergence of, let's say, traditional gaming and betting, and also with sports betting and DraftKings and all these other things that are kind of coalescing and coming together in the world of esports as the potential there?
Yeah, it's a very important question, especially in today's day and age, and what's happening right now within our landscape and in our ecosystem. So, I'll unpack this a little bit. So, my parent company, which is Tiidal Gaming, it owns. So we're a platform company, and we focus on esports, gaming, and entertainment. So we have the esports, Lazarus Esports side, which is media and entertainment and content creation. Then we acquired an AI betting technology called SportsFlare, and that was acquired back in December. And they provide the esports lines to sports books. So like your DraftKings, your Bet365s, your Pinnacles, the list goes on. There's thousands of them all over the world. And just to go back on something that you said, it's really looking at the skill-based side. There's the bet on yourself. That's obviously where the market is right now. So with the esports lines that SportsLayer provides, so let's say a DraftKings, we have, we go from what is traditionally, where you can have 30 to 40, pre-game bets right now. And with SportsFlare, it now progresses up to 300, 400, 500, pre-game, bets that you can have. Two or three other areas that we're really excited about what we've developed and what we're now taking to market is the micro markets and the micro transactions of being able to take multiple different bets within, let's say, a single match. So where's the bomb? Is the bomb going to go off? Who's going to pick up the bomb? Is it going to get diffused? And having multiple different small bets that are happening within the game, which is super exciting. Micro markets is a big part of the industry in the future. What I really love is the streamer to streamer betting. aspect that Sports Fair brings here as well, because we get to expand not only the esports marketplace, which is like 5% of the overall gaming marketplace, but we also get to move into those tier 2, tier 3 and enthusiast based games like a golf, that already have a competitive gameplay but you've never been able to bet on before. So Colin and Charlie both are streamers and they both have great communities. They both opt into, let's say, a DraftKings into their platform. And now you get to, Charlie and Colin are playing in a match game on PGA Tour 2K21, and now their communities that are watching them live get to bet on, is Charlie going to end up in the sand, which is probably a good bet to take because I'll be bringing my sunblock, and Colin will probably get an albatross. So yeah, the streamer to streamer betting is really important. The micro markets, the pregame. Then we also have a bet builder, which is much like kind of a parlay where you get to have multiple bets on a single game and it pays out right away. So you get to bet right away. So we're really excited about what we've developed in, with Sports Flair and what we're taking to market, and we're going public this year as well. So we're really excited about what we're doing. And so when we're looking at, games like an NHL or a UFC or an MLB, these are games that have never taken a bet before. These are communities that, by and large are kind of older communities, especially on the sports side. And then when you look at, DraftKings and all these different companies, and I don't mean to keep mentioning DraftKings, it's not a sponsored video, but when we look at these communities, and you, for instance, you look at COVID-19, and there's a massive silver lining to that. So when COVID-19 happened, all these streamers and content creators and pro players, they saw typically a 4 to a 5x on their content and their viewership. So if someone was streaming for 1,000 individuals, about 3 or 4 months in, they were now streaming to 4,000 or 5,000 individuals, and that's because people weren't, they were staying at home, they were adhering to what their government was saying, and a big part of this community was bettors, and they couldn't bet on sports, they couldn't bet on hockey, they couldn't bet on all the normal things that they could bet on outside of, let's say, a FIFA, and they started flocking towards esports and gaming, and they started to go to a Bet365 and taking that normal betting amount that they would do on a weekly or monthly basis, and now bring that to our community. So you're now starting to see these FanDuel, DraftKings, Bet365. They're all signing tier 1 content creators that have massive communities, and they're now pushing towards esports and gaming. They have been since kind of Q3 of last year, and obviously now moving into to this year. And you're seeing it's such a natural transition when you have someone that is betting on UFC, and now you have the same characters, the same system, the same mechanics, if you will, and that bettor can now bet on UFC esports. It's not like you have to educate them about a new game or a new system or who the competitors are. Their only source of education that they really need to take into account is who are the pro players that are manually, controlling these individuals online. So it's an easy thing to relate to individuals that are already betting, and to bring this community from traditional sports into esports and really bridge the communities. So we're really excited about what we're doing at Tiidal Gaming and our platform company, and ultimately what we're seeing within the sports lines and the sports communities, and how that's only going to continue to elevate and grow moving forward.
Nice. And you put a lot out there, but couple of things I want to follow up on. You talked about kind of those micro bets, and when I had Reed Fowler from DraftKings on, and he's their golf professional, he does NFL and also golf for them. We talked about this too, and I put it out there, is that the potential, someone like Bryson DeChambeau that hits the ball so far now, and just having these on-demand bets, if you will, these micro bets, it's like, okay, you're now at the Masters on the 13th fairway. Will he hit it over 300 yards?
Exactly.
What's the over/under on that? And it has to happen. And of course, as soon as he steps up the tee, that bet closes, and it's on either you make it or you don't. So it could be on one shot, one experience. And they said they're not quite there yet, but he smirked, and he's kind of said, yeah, we're going to get there. It's going to happen very soon because there's that demand for that rather than 4 days of a tournament or even one round of a tournament, to actually have something like you touched on there, just spontaneous, and also betting on yourselves, the term that I couldn't pull out of my head a while ago before your last response was skills-based betting, right?
Yep.
Which is what the Vegas is looking on, because Las Vegas, like a lot of places, just like golf, is desperately looking for ways to connect with a younger, more diverse audience. And younger people
Absolutely.
don't want to be sitting with us by a slot machine by themselves with a plastic bucket full of quarters, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's not the way they roll, right? They
Yeah.
want to do things together, and they want to do things that are active and engaging. So sounds to me that esports is just one of those incredibly strong ingredients that can help kind of stir the pot on that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I agree with your entire sentiment. Obviously I've been to Vegas, and I've done a lot of work with esports in Vegas as well. And to be in a hotel and yeah, being around someone that's smoking and just having that bucket full of quarters, it's not inviting. And so casinos and a lot of those properties they too themselves are trying to figure out how do we get younger. And I think that's also what you're seeing on the golf side here as well. Is I think the publisher, whether that's 2K or EA or whomever, is trying to figure out how do we continue to expand our demographic, how do we get younger with it. I think the actual real life golf courses are realizing, like, yes, this has been tailored towards baby boomers in the past, and we have an aging demographic with our golfers. How do we continue to get younger? How do we attract new individuals? So when we're seeing like a Bear Mountain, that that's our title sponsor for the VRL showdown that's happening, they recognized, hey, we can be the first group to do this outside of a licensed golf course that's injected already into the game and part of the PGA Tour. And they recognize that this is an opportunity for us to get younger. We want to connect with our community. So working with the VRL consortium of properties on the island, connecting with the community, the vendors, the young demographic, and then knowing that this isn't just a one-off for them, and knowing that there's a roadmap moving forward. This is a way for them to say, we're going to focus on our community first, let them know that this is our intentions. Now, how do we move forward? And how do we continue to have, limitless boundaries? Because people like to travel for golf, and people all over the world travel into all these different destinations because they want something picturesque. They want something beautiful. They want to play that signature hole 14 par 3 at Bear Mountain on the mountain course. They want to do those things. So, understanding that there's a need, there's the opportunity, there's a challenge, and how to address the problem is something that VRL is doing, something that we're doing, something that a Bear Mountain is doing, and kind of connecting all those dots is important to what we're doing at Lazarus Esports.
Yeah, love that. And on the podcast, we did talk about the social impact of how you're giving back and your charity partners with that. So I think you're doing fantastic work there. But we'll kind of hold off on that because, once again, I want to encourage all of our viewers to go and listen to the really engaging conversation you and I had there in the longer form podcast version there. But to finish up, I want to ask you this question, because you had touched on this during our other podcast conversation, and that is the connectivity or the potential with virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality in esports and in competitive gaming and competitions. What are your thoughts on that as far as the future? Because I know there's been some kind of misstarts, or people don't quite know how to really harness the potential of that technology. So what are your thoughts, not just in golf, but in esports in general, of how you can bring VR into it in an impactful way that adds value?
Yeah, I think, outside of if you look at all the sports games, I think golf has the biggest potential for that opportunity. When you're looking at, VR, like, look at all, like, when you're going into, like, let's say a golf town right now, and you're going in there and you want to try out a new tailor-made golf driver, and you're kind of, you're hitting it up against the simulator, and you're seeing how far you can hit. Does it feel good? There is natural things as technology gets and software continues to evolve, and VR and bringing in equipment that's readily accessible and starting to become more affordable. There is opportunity here for, not only the casual player, but the competitive player, the real golfer, the esports golfer, to really tie in a unique experience. So and that will once again, like, you'll be able to appeal to both men and women. You'll be able to appeal to old age and young age. And golf has that kind of beauty where, golf, you have a short window span. Same with Madden. Soccer, you have to work your butt off. But golf has the ability, whether you're old or young, and all those different factors, that you get to connect. So I'm really excited about the hardware component to this, whether that's the mobile hardware side, or let's say the Facebook Oculus and the Oculus 2 and what's happening with that. As we see more studios and more developers come in and recognize that opportunity, there's already a host of amazing hardware that's out there right now. And it's now just kind of connecting that with the software and the interface, and now having a great game in a studio that sees that. So we're really excited about that future. And I don't think that that's far off of something that's going to be exciting, something that's going to be, a big viewer ticket as well. And ultimately the future as well.
Nice. Well, I can keep going for hours talking to
Same.
you. I just got to the excitement level is really high. So why don't we keep it to this? Because once again, I did want to encourage our viewers to go back over and listen to the podcast episode, and I will include the link to that down below, just like all of the links to the VIRL Showdown, that hashtag VIRL Showdown. We will include that also, and the links to the actual event. And of course, with people our viewers on YouTube, they may say, oh, well, if that's on May 2nd and I'm now watching this on May 3rd or afterwards, I'm assuming you will then have this recorded, that if they want to go back and watch the finals, is that something you're going to have, that it'll be residing somewhere that then they can watch that afterwards if they see this video after the myself and the finalists play in the final on May 2nd?
Yep. So you can find us live on May 2nd, starting at 10 Pacific AM. So we're going to be on Twitch and on YouTube and Facebook Gaming and Trovo, and that's all through Lazarus Esports. But yes, we will have a ton of post content that will be living on Instagram and Twitter as well. And then we'll have the full broadcast that will be on Lazarus Esports on YouTube.
Nice. Well, as I mentioned, we'll include all those links, and even after the fact, we'll post this obviously before the event, but I will make sure I update those so you can then watch this event to get a feel for it. And the exciting thing, as I mentioned, this is the first of what will be many. This is really the if you want, the launch pad for competitive esports competitions in the golf realm, and I'm excited for this. It's something I've been waiting for years, Charlie. I'm so glad that we connected.
I'm so excited too, man. I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. All right, Charlie Watson, founder, CEO of Lazarus Esports. It's good to talk to you again, Charlie. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, Colin.